Hi, this is Christine. It is February 4, 2015. It's in the morning. And I want to share a dream I had last night. And I don't know if it means anything. I was at my parents' house, and there were a group of people there. It was mainly men. They were more in their 40s, age-wise. I think there was one black guy, and he was like a light brown color, kind of tall and skinny, not super skinny, but just skinny. And then the other guys had maybe salt and pepper hair. I didn't see any women there, except for later on my mom showed up at the door. So she was, I think, the only woman there. I walked into the house, and it was like, well, first of all, my dad wasn't there. He was either living somewhere else. I didn't have a feeling that he had passed away or anything like that. He just wasn't in the picture. And I didn't know any of these people who were in the house, but it seemed again like it was a party / get-together type of thing. And they were all huddled around the dining room and the kitchen area. People were just talking. And I walked in, and the house, it looked like my parents' house, but it had some changes to it also. It looked more like a home. It was like these men had changed the house around to be more open and friendly and livable, and like love and joy and sunshine was in this house. And that's not how my house was growing up. My mother had all of that, the love and the joy and the kindness and the sunshine, and my dad was kind of like a shade or a shadow over everything. He was just like a cloud of darkness, and he sort of turned the house into like a dungeon. And that's kind of how I grew up in real life, with two extremes. I had love from my mom, but I had the dungeon from my dad. And maybe that's why my dad wasn't in the picture here. He's changed since then, so he's a lot nicer and happier now that he's older, but that's how it was when I was younger. And then I noticed the kitchen had been like redesigned or redecorated. It still looked like my parents' old kitchen, but there was a dishwasher in it, and it was like a bluish turquoise green. It was a pretty blue-green color, and it had a name on it, like a brand name on it in cursive, but I don't remember what it was. And I was just surprised that there was a dishwasher, because normally my mom washed dishes by hand when I was growing up, because my dad wouldn't get her a dishwasher. She did eventually get one. She went to work, and with her own money got a dishwasher. But yeah, he wouldn't get her one. And so these men in my dream, they had gotten a dishwasher, and it was a pretty color. So I was just seeing, like, they were all happy and nice. It was like love and generosity and kindness was flowing out of them. And it was just making the house from a dark, dingy dungeon type of feeling to a warm and sunshiny and nice place to be. And I started crying, actually, and the guys, they just stood around. They weren't like normal men who, when a girl starts crying, the first thing to do is bolt for the door because they can't handle emotions. I'm not saying all guys are like that, but that's been my experience, where men just don't want to deal with emotions, and if a girl cries, hey, just take off. That's what I'm used to. But these men didn't do that. They just stood there, and they looked at me, but not with judgmental eyes, and they just kind of let me cry, let me get it out of my system, and then we all moved on to the next thing. And I went to the living room, and the living room looked different. And then I walked through the door to the front porch, which is enclosed. Normally, like in real life, our front porch is enclosed, and you can slide the doors and the windows to the side, and then there's just the screen, which keeps the mosquitoes out, but you can have a nice breeze coming through. And my mom and we used to sit out on the front porch a lot of times and have a cup of tea or something like that, and just talk or just enjoy the weather and say hi to the neighbors who were walking by, on the sidewalk in front. So it was nice. I have good memories of that front porch with my mom. But in my dream, when I walked out to the front porch, it was still enclosed in the sense that the bars were there, but it was open in the sense that all the glass and the sliding windows and doors had been removed. So it felt like it was free and open, like the front porch was just free and open. All you saw was the bars, like the frames of the windows, but all the glass, everything, and the screens were gone. And I walked out there, and the feeling that I had inside of me is like the prison was gone. The enclosed porch, quote, prison, was gone, and it was just open air. You could walk in and out. There was nothing holding you in. And I started to cry again because it was so different from my memories. Like when I walk into the house, my parents' house, my memories are of a dark, dingy place, except for the little bit of light and love that my mom had, that she tried to bring into the house. So when I would walk into my parents' house, or when I'd walk onto the front porch, or the living room, the dining room, kitchen, and I'd see how the darkness was gone, and these men had moved, like light and love and joy and happiness into the house, I just would cry because it was so different. It was kind of like a happy cry, but it was also a cry where I was letting the pain out. And then I ended up coming back into the house from the front porch, and I went out the other door, the side door, and I turned around, and for some reason I rang the doorbell, like as in to let myself back in. And my mom answered the door, and she was in her house dress that she would sometimes wear, like a nightgown. She would just wear her nightgown, and when she got up, and then she'd take a shower or whatever. But she would walk around the house with actual clothes on. She didn't walk around the house in a nightgown all day. But she answered the door like in her nightgown / house dress, so it must have been early morning. And I was surprised to see her open the door. First of all, because she's been dead 3 years now. But the second thing is because I didn't see her originally. in the house. It was just the men who were there bringing joy into the house and getting rid of the darkness in there. So then my mom was gone, and I ended up walking through the front door. I didn't open the screen door. I didn't open the brown door, because my mom had apparently closed it or something like that, but the door was closed now, and my mom was gone. And she was actually really nice when she opened the door. But now, the door was closed again, and instead of opening either of those doors, the real door or the screen door, I just walked through them. And then I walked into the house, and I turned around and went back out. And when I went back out is when I noticed that, the chain and the lock and everything were on the door. They were adhered on the door. And I was just thinking to myself, how did I get in when the door is locked and it has a chain on it? I didn't know how I'd gotten just in the house because everything was locked from the inside. But I did. I just walked invisibly right straight to the door. What came to me is these people who were in the house, including my mom now, since she showed up in this dream, is everybody was like my personality. We were all different people, but we all had similar personalities, which meant that we got along and we kind of understood each other. And that's why I called this soul group, because a soul group is like a small group of people who understand you, and they see you, and they support you unconditionally. And everybody has soul groups. They're like people that, you just click with. You guys understand each other. You think the same way. You have a lot of stuff in common. You have similar personalities, similar energy levels, things like that. So that's why I call them soul groups. And that's kind of who these people were in my dream. They were just people who understood me, and they saw me, and it was almost like they were trying to heal me by coming into the house and making it into a home and getting rid of all the dungeon type feeling and the darkness that I was used to experiencing when I would walk into my parents' house. But it was gone because they had changed it. And they had made everything open and airy and light and love and joy and happiness, and all kinds of good things were in the house now. And I cried. I cried 3-4 times. Every room that I went to, I would walk in there, and the first thing that came to my mind was my memories from my past of this house. And then I would see how they completely revamped, or redid the room and made it into a home rather than a dungeon. And then I would start crying because of the difference and because of remembering my pain. So I would cry, I would let it out, and then I would be happy because the house was it had life in it again. And that's kind of what my mom and I are very similar personalities. And my dad and my sister are very similar personalities. So, my mom was always my best friend, and then my dad and my sister were best friends. And my mom always loved my sister, but they didn't really connect. My sister didn't really understand, I don't think. And my dad and I didn't really get each other. So I didn't have much of a relationship with my dad. He just pretty much lived there. And he never really tried to build a relationship with me either. So I did a lot of crying in this dream last night. It was in every room that they took me to and showed me. And it was like I said, I walked into the room. I remembered my past. It made me cry. And then I saw the room be transformed from darkness to light. And from like dungeon to love. And that was my dream. And it was all by people who I felt were just like me in personality. I don't know who they are. I don't know if they're angels, if they're guides or spirits, or, just trying to help you. I think everybody's got them, though. The more I think about it, and I know religion talks against it, but the more I think about it, I think God does have like angels watching over us. And they help us in our time of need. So anyway, it was a weird dream, but I just figured I'd share it anyways. So thanks, guys, and have a great day. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.